So we're on the set of The Taming of the Shrew, and we're here with the director of the production, Peter Hinton. And Peter, what excited you about the idea of directing The Taming of the Shrew?
What I love about the play is that it's both a very controversial play and a very popular play. And it, of course, is the play about the great Shrew of Padua, who nobody wants to marry, who is famous for her scolding tongue, and she's a temper, and her younger sister cannot get married until she is married. And through the play, she meets a man, Petruchio, who comes to find a wife for money, and through that courtship, he falls in love with her, as she does with him, and she is tamed and becomes an obedient wife. And so it's a very controversial play for feminists and for a lot of people in the audience, because it begs the question, what is independence? What is freedom? What is liberty? What is power? On whose terms?
Would a scold or a shrew have been a kind of common joke or an archetype within Elizabethan society?
Oh yes, and it would have been too a real social pariah. There's all kinds of documents from the period of conduct books and pamphlets for how you deal with your wife if she is a scold. And a scold is probably the worst thing a woman could be. And
okay, I'm not going to touch that. But how did they reconcile that with actually having a female monarch, a prince who was a woman?
Well, that's the interesting thing too, is that you've got a very powerful queen on the throne, and yet Elizabeth, she wanted balance and order within her own country. And so a lot of these scold or shrew plays are ways of looking at order in the household and how that reflects order in a government or order in a country.
So Peter, you have the assignment. Someone says, we'd love you to direct The Taming of the Shrew, and you go away and you think, well, what am I going to do with this? Where am I going to set it? How am I going to realize it? So what were your thoughts, and what led you to, we're standing on the set, so what led you to having this set be an assistant in that, or expression of that?
Well, the play begins, and it has a very unusual beginning in that there is an induction to the play, which is like kind of like a prologue. And what happens is there's a fight in a tavern in Warwickshire, and a lord comes across a drunken beggar and decides to play a trick on the beggar and pretend that he is a lord himself, the beggar, and that they will put on a play for him. And the play they put on is The Taming of the Shrew.
So you've got a framing device with this drunk who there's a play put on with him. So what did you want to do with that?
So I thought, well, that is a real clue to the play. And many times when the play is done, the induction is just not staged at all.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be really interesting to see and to look at that Elizabethan world. So what we have here is a sort of reconstruction of what can serve for us as an Elizabethan tavern for the induction, and fulfill all the various settings of the play when the play is performed, the play within a play, which is set in Italy. So Sato Loquasto, the designer, has done this marvelous sort of Elizabethan skeleton structure of a house that sort of suggests an Italian kind of feeling.
Yes.
So we've got this big edifice of our tavern here, where outside in this courtyard, the beginning of the play takes place. And what a little trick we've done with it is taken the Lord from the induction and made her Queen Elizabeth herself.
So herself is in the play.
She is in the play.
I love that.
So the Queen, who is known for falconry, for deer hunting, she comes in as a hunter and comes across her people at war, her people in this domestic broil. And she decides to stage this play and put on this play.
Now, in terms of the set, it's both interesting up close and it's interesting as a great picture. You can see up top, and over here you can see that there are different cartwheels that will be lit up. And the set actually has all sorts of dynamics in terms of the ability that Peter and his cast will have to take the entire height, it seems, of the festival stage and bring it to life. You've got also different kind of mechanized elements from the time, it seems.
Yeah, there are painted drops that are attached to the top of the this big unit here, that these sort of suggest stage or theater machinery of the time. So they're cranked and moved around as the drops come in and out. And this whole unit actually moves forward so that it can be an edifice for street scenes in Padua to when we go to Petruchio's house. The whole thing comes forward.
I didn't know if you wanted to say that. I was being quiet about it because I think it'll be a great moment in the theater.
It's pretty cool. And you've got this huge sort of Da Vinci-like sculpture in the middle of the stage.
Okay, well, it would be wonderful now to go and actually meet some of the cutters who are making the costumes, and you can tell us a little bit about some of the thoughts, because there's some really interesting details in those costumes.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.